Okay, so let's look at this. This is what, January 3rd? Almost the exact same scenario that went on with Stephanie. Okay, look here. 2 children. So the husband killed the wife and the 2 kids. And they thought that she was pregnant with the 3rd. Stephanie had 2 kids, but the neighbor kid was staying over. There's 3 kids. This is a repeat story. If you look over here, this was Stephanie's house. This is where this went on. They're 20 miles apart. You're going to tell me that this is just a coincidence? Bullshit. Show me some pictures of the bodies. Where is this? You do see something though here, don't you? What do you see? Yellow tape, police, the ambulances over there. None of the shit that you saw with Stephanie. Right here. And all this is going to bear out. Hang on a second. He said this is the worst that he's seen in 35 years. You do know that 35 is pedo code. 35 usually is little boys, but and it's interesting because you'll see in a minute why I say that. Let me just pull some up real quick. See, here's that mother thing with the finger. That's 35. Here's the 35 over here. Notice this is in Israeli blue and white. They're always behind all of this crap. Because they think that they're entitled to take your kids. So, here. The codes between boys and girls in pedophilia. Women are 53. As you see here on Herbie the Love Bug. Why is it a love bug? Well, that goes to the word buggery. What's buggery? Well, that's ass fucking. The beetle represents a dung beetle. Here you see in the Beatles, Abbey Road. There it is there. Here it is in Rosemary's Baby, which was a woman whose baby was taken from her by a demonic occult. And this down here, here's 35. This is the boy. You'll see this in a minute. So, let's blow the plate up. You notice it's on a yellow Volkswagen. These people were going to be the stand-in the movie The Shining in case the other group, for whatever reason, couldn't fulfill their part as playing in the role in The Shining. Here's your 35. That's your pedo code for boys. Danny was a boy in the movie, but they were going to have a girl playing a boy right here. There's the finger. There's the finger. There's the finger. And there's the finger. I couldn't be this right if I was this wrong. Just bear with me, because I'm right about this. This is a pedophile cult that's running around up there doing this shit. That's why the fucking feds stopped me from getting up there.
Sense of this horrific act, but the truth is, we may never know why it happened.
Heartbreaking new details out of West Greenwich tonight. We have now confirmed that a man shot his wife and children, just 2 and 5 years old, before killing himself.
No, he didn't.
Good evening, I'm Patrice Wood.
And I'm Dan Janik. His wife, 7 months pregnant with their 3rd child. Her family.
And so what, Stephanie? Stephanie had her 2 kids. And what? There was a neighbor kid sleeping over. That's the 3rd kid. This is a mirrored story.
Only now remembering her as a loving mother. NBC 10's Gabrielle Cracciolo is live in West.
There's the finger. There's the Masonic white glove. There's the Saturnian black jacket.
Greenwich now with these heartbreaking details. Gabrielle?
Dan, Patrice, police are finally telling us what happened, but it's the why that remains a mystery. They say their investigation has yet to unveil why a husband would shoot and kill his pregnant wife and their 2 young...
He didn't. It's the pedophile ring that's doing that shit. They're taking them kids. And I'm about to prove it to you.
children. It's making the grieving process just that much harder.
Was just the...
So this is the cousin? You show me where there's any grieving going on here. For those of you that know me, you know how tore up I was. I mean hardcore. I mean beyond, listen, where my head was is a place you never want to go.
Light in the room.
See, you see this here? That's a micro smile. It's called a micro expression. She's trying not to smile. This is the cousin, and you just had Christmas with her, and this is how you act when she's brutally murdered.
It was awesome.
That's how Daniela Russo.
Big red flag here. There's the teal panties. Okay? See the dog here? I'm about to turn you on to something that's going to solidify this thing. Here's the teal panties. Right here. Then that's your pedophile symbol.
Ruda's family wants to make sure she's remembered.
She was, it's so hard.
You see how she's trying not to smile?
Hard to describe her with just.
So this is a person that was shot with a shotgun like Stephanie, and somehow you find the time to smile like Stephanie's mom and dad did? I'm curious how that works.
Words. She was wonderful. She was just, you could be so comfortable with her. She was so funny. She was so loving. Like, she was just there for everybody, and she just always had the
See? She's trying not to laugh.
right thing to say.
The pregnant mom was shot and killed alongside her two kids, 2-year-old Felix and 5-year-old Adele, in their West Greenwich home last week. Police say it was her.
You notice what you see here, right? Police, yellow tape, right? None of that you saw at Stephanie's.
Her husband, Nicholas Arruda, who pulled the trigger before turning the gun on himself.
This is a heartbreaking time for the relatives and friends of the Arruda family, as well as the West Greenwich community.
The investigation has yet.
I'm sending this guy a fucking thumb drive too, and I'm gonna tell him straight out, you and all your fucking Masonic cronies that are involved in this, don't think it ain't going unnoticed. These motherfuckers know exactly what happened, because they're in on it.
Yet to uncover a motive.
I wish there could be an explanation to help you make sense of this horrific act, but the truth is, we may never know why it happened.
Oh, but I do. That's funny that I can figure it out, but you have no idea.
They were called to do a wellness check at the.
Exactly the same thing I did on Stephanie. It's called a welfare check, but it's the same thing. Because I didn't hear from her the next morning.
Family home on Cheyenne Trail when Danielle didn't show up to her job at a law firm 2 days in a row.
We were all like in shock, just in.
Yeah, you look like it looks like you're just beside yourself. Wow, that's amazing. I don't know how you're handling the stress.
Disbelief.
Danielle's family, including her cousin Michaela, still can't believe what happened. They had just spent Christmas together.
It was a wonderful day. It was great.
There's no emotion in this broad. The night of the 3rd, when I busted them fuckers and I told them I was coming up there, I had about 6 beers in me, and I grabbed the table and I was going to throw it through the fucking wall. This bitch isn't even concerned because I'm not even sure that this bitch is her cousin.
We all hung out and stuff, laughed, so it was a nice memory.
And they have set up a GoFundMe to help.
Of course they did, just like they did with Stephanie. Wow, how about that? Imagine that. So now, let's take a look at some other really damning stuff, shall we? So let's look at here then. The kid with the teal panties, the boy, it's a boy, by the way. You see he's holding his dog. See, he's got his dog right there. Here's the news. Isn't that cute? A purple coat, which is the combination of the red and blue, and then she's got the white Masonic gloves on with her eyes closed. This is the house, 15. They make sure to show you that. None of this, as you recall, was done with Stephanie. Zero. Nothing. But here, like I said, so let's look and see what 15 is, shall we? What is 15? The symbolic meaning of 15 is best explained by the 15th card of the major arcana in the tarot deck, the Devil. Imagine that. Imagine that character, mother, being involved in something this dastardly. What a surprise. What a surprise. And let's just go get a picture of Mommy Dearest real quick. There's a picture of Mommy Dearest right there. Remember I showed you? The mirrored? You tell me why the news would have to run this picture of this kid mirrored. See his dog? See it? Let's just do this. Let's just draw a line right down the fucking middle here. Why would you show that in a news? And they showed that super fast. I had to fight to catch that. You see, this is really, 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 really demonic shit that's going on here. And this is just mirroring what happened at Stephanie's house. So here you have the yellow and pink for sex and violence. Here you've got the seal right here in the background. Here you've got the pedophile bear. Here you've got the young boy, teal panties or underwear. You've got the 15 for the mother, and you got the kid. You got the kids mirrored. What else do you fucking need? This is a ritualistic fucking thing they're doing. And they did it to my girlfriend, and now they did it to these people. Believe me when I tell you this. The police are in on this. And I'm sending them a thing, and I'm going to tell them, you are guilty. Everything I'm showing you here, I'm sending to them. Nobody either has the knowledge or the nuts to do this shit. Well, I guess I have to. So, we're going to do a little refresher here first. So, this is Stephanie's backyard, supposedly. I mean, I've seen it, but I've never personally been there. Here's the Ashra pole, which represents a penis. Here's the one-eye symbol of Baal. The single eye represents an asshole, so now you've got the whole sodomy thing going on. You've got the sunflowers here, which represents the daisy of death. Now, this was an unrelated story. The murder basement. You see it's black and white for the two sides of the brain. Okay, that's the same as the red and the blue. You see how this is white? How much I do trees for a living, so I know this. You see how this tree over here looks exactly the same? It's because they're both pine trees. The Ashra poles, a lot of the times, were made out of pine trees. So what they would do is they would tie you facing it with a rope that went around from here, from this foot to this foot, and then your arms would be pulled around here and your arms would be tied, and then they would fuck you from behind. It's murder of the mind. Now, we look over here, it says, which is bizarre, it's the same four people. Sarah, Aaron Arnold, Joe Francis, because Joe is Fabris Hesiod, right? So let's look at that real quick. So then we know this is Stephanie's address. I know she lived there. Well, why does it say current owner Hesiod R. Frapkes and Stiagavu A. Frapkes? Well, when you look it up, Joseph R. Francis, search instead for Hesiod R. Frapkes and Stephanie Stiagavu Francis. That's interesting. So what are these names that they're using, this OG crap? OG. OG. Right here. Here's OG. Here's OG. Here's an Asherah pole. Notice they also put this in the black and white, just like they put this in the black and white. Because it's what it is. It's this whole act of sodomy fucking up their heads. Right? So we know that Hesiod and Stiagavu is Stephanie and Joe. But who's Og? Because this is all going to make sense here in a minute. Now, I was on Stephanie's classmates page. Somehow I was able to get on there. And one of her friends from high school sent her this. Well, these are portholes. Witches have these things. Stephanie had these all over her house. Matter of fact, let me go get a picture. So if you look, this is Stephanie's picture. She's got 3 of them on her door right there. You see? She's got 3 of them right there. But it's this word right here which gives us away and explains something that I've been trying to figure out. You see, it says Anak, and it's got the what would look like a devil's tail. Hang on. And so we look, Anak, the Anakim were the Nephilim, the Remphan, the Zuzim, Emin, and the Amorites. In the Bible, Anakim were a group of giants who lived in Canaan before the Israelites arrived. Og was a giant mentioned in the Bible. These are not giant people. You know who this is? What was this guy's name? Darth Vader. What was his name? It was a human. Anakin Skywalker. So let's take a look at this and break this thing down. First of all, this is the edge of the cube. This is the top. This is the face. The eyes are the Mickey Mouse ears. The head is a penis. It's black for the Saturnian color of authority. You got the white and black stripes for the right and left side of the brain. But what's even more interesting, and this is what gave it away. So remember how I kept saying this picture's off and her neck is too long, it's anatomically incorrect? Well, now I know why. The Anakim were a group of giants who lived in Canaan before the Israelites arrived. The word Anakim comes from the Hebrew word Anak, which means giant or long neck. These are not giants like you think, and I'm about to show you what it means. That's why they drew Stephanie, the picture, with a long neck, because she's part of that group. And that is why they have this right here. A 33 right there. This whole thing is revolving around the fallen angel stuff. And unfortunately, somehow she's caught up in it, or she is one. And so let's not forget this picture. This is Joe. Whose hand is this? No human's hand is that big. It may be if you're dealing with one of these guys, one of the fallen angels. And let's not forget the message that was sent to me, clearly right in front of my face. Remember this? Those numbers and that word. And what are those numbers affiliated with? $33 degrees east, 33 degrees north. And who was that? It's Mount Hermon. What is Mount Hermon? Well, you've seen it a million times. Right here. Biblically, stars, trees, and stones are referred to as demons. And here they are here, right? On Mount Hermon. Right there. And you notice the word paramount? Para. Let's see what we can go with that. I already know what it is, but there's about 5 or 6 different definitions for para, but one of them means abnormal. So you have an abnormal mounting. So when we look at that, we could imply the song, she'll be coming around the mountain when she comes. Get it? It's got a sexual connotation to it. So we know now why they use that picture, Stephanie. Because she's part of the whole Anakim, which is the Remphan, which is the Og. Get it? Now, the whole giant thing. You're going to find out it's a matter of perspective what this is. So we're going to go to a famous movie, which is directly connected, by the way. So here's your biblical bullshit where they're trying to tell you. And this is interesting, Numbers 13:33. We're back into that number again. So they were big, and then over time it says they got smaller and smaller and smaller. I mean, that's what it says. Well, here's the same picture over here because it's a matter of perspective. This one, then the next go round is just a reflection, which is smaller, 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 smaller. So if I was to take, give me a brush here. I'll go with the skinny one right here. So this was the original guy before his mind got fucking destroyed. Oh, let me just do that. I'll just use red. And we got one loop, and then another 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 loop. Do you see? Do you understand? So we can do the same thing over here again. So you got one loop, you got another loop, you got another loop, you got another loop, you got another loop. All they're showing you is it's just a repeat pattern. And so they show you this by making it look like the guy's smaller, but what it really is it's just looking off into the distance, and it keeps going forever like that mirror picture. Now, let's look at who's behind all of that. From the same movie, Citizen Kane. They spelled it Kane. It's C-A-I-N. Biblical. He's the one who can't die. Interesting, huh? Now here's Mother, the infinite. Now see, that's the key word there. The infinite mirror. But look at her reflection. Each one of these reflections should have her looking this way, but if you notice, she looks this way, then she looks that way, then she looks this way, then she looks that way, then she looks this way. Because it's Mother that sodomizes the child and puts the child into an endless loop so he can never get to the Father. Oh, the good fairy. Oh, is that what they call that? Is that what that is? The good fairy? Because the number 13 is the number of the devil. That's why they don't like to put it in elevators and floors. But I guess that's a good fairy here. They weren't giants. They were normal, and it's a mental thing. And every time they go around, they get a little bit smaller because it's the perspective of the mirror. So Stephanie seems to have been, as I stated earlier, tied in with that system. Probably done to her as a child. And if we were to show this, let me see if I can find that picture. Here's a nice Mickey Mouse camera. Just in case you thought I was wrong about all of this. See Mickey Mouse's head? What do you think this is? Do you think that's kid-friendly? Yeah, this is the kid spreading his ass cheeks. That's the lens or the eye, which represents the asshole, like I was telling you. It's a lovely picture, isn't it? You notice they got the three little black lines, so you've got your black and your white contrast. Such a sordid affair. And so recently, we've had another Stephanie repeat. This one was about 2 weeks ago, 20 miles from Stephanie's house. And let's just take a look at this. This is Daniel Lynn Aruda. So they already got a Facebook thing. They got 32,000. Stephanie's ended at around 37. So in 2.5 weeks, they've already come up with that much money? You gonna tell me that this broad was some kind of superstar or something? No, it's because of these underpants. Because I'm telling you, these GoFundMe things, they're purchasing kids with that money. They're selling these kids. These two. This probably isn't even the mother. Now there's something, we all know what this color represents. We all know what that color represents. So in 2.5 weeks, they've already come up with $31,000. That's the color for pedophilia, remember? I just implanted one of my own videos in it, so I wouldn't have to go over again. And Stephanie's was about 37 when it ended, after 3.5 months. Well, why is that? Well, her kids were older. I don't think older kids bring as much money. Something not right here, folks. I mean, soon I'll be off the air, but the bottom line is that you won't have to hear this rambling on about this shit. Hang on a second. So this is a video that I just inserted in the video, so I don't have to go over it again. So if it sounds like I'm starting over, it's just because I'm just interjecting this one. January 3rd, almost the exact same scenario that went on with Stephanie. Okay, look here. 2 children. So the husband killed the wife and with 2 kids. And they thought that she was pregnant with the 3rd. Stephanie had 2 kids, but the neighbor kid is staying over. There's 3 kids. This is a repeat story. If you look over here, this was Stephanie's house. This is where this went on. They're 20 miles apart. You're going to tell me that this is just a coincidence? Bullshit. Show me some pictures of the bodies. Where is this? You do see something though here, don't you? What do you see? Yellow tape, police, the ambulances over there. None of the shit that you saw with Stephanie. Right here. And all this is going to bear out. Hang on a second. He said this is the worst that he's seen in 35 years. You do know that 35 is pedo code. 35 usually is little boys, but and it's interesting because you'll see in a minute why I say that. Let me just pull some up real quick. See, here's that mother thing with the finger. That's 35. Here's a 35 over here. Notice this is in Israeli blue and white. They're always behind all of this crap. Because they think that they're entitled to take your kids. So, here. The codes between boys and girls in pedophilia. Women are 53. As you see here on Herbie the love bug. Why is it a love bug? Well, that goes to the word buggery. What's buggery? Well, that's ass fucking. The beetle represents a dung beetle. Here you see in the Beatles, Abbey Road. There it is there. Here it is in Rosemary's Baby, which was a woman whose baby was taken from her by a demonic occult. And this down here, here's 35. This is the boy. You'll see this in a minute. So let's blow the plate up. You notice it's on a yellow Volkswagen. These people were going to be the stand-in the movie The Shining in case the other group, for whatever reason, couldn't fulfill their part as playing in the role in The Shining. Here's your 35. That's your pedo code for boys. Danny was a boy in the movie, but they were going to have a girl playing a boy right here. There's the finger. There's the finger. There's the finger. And there's the finger. I couldn't be this right if I was this wrong. Just bear with me, because I'm right about this. This is a pedophile cult that's running around up there doing this shit. That's why the fucking feds stopped me from getting up there.
Senses are a horrific act, but the truth is, we may never know why it happened.
Heartbreaking new details out of West Greenwich tonight. We have now confirmed that a man shot his wife and children, just 2 and 5 years old, before killing himself.
No, he didn't.
Good evening, I'm Patrice Wood.
And I'm Dan Janik. His wife, 7 months pregnant with their third child. Her family.
And so what, Stephanie? Stephanie had her 2 kids. And what? There was a neighbor kid sleeping over. That's the third kid. This is a mirrored story.
Only now remembering her as a loving mother. NBC 10's Gabrielle Cracciolo is live in West.
There's the finger. There's the Masonic white glove. There's the Saturnian black jacket.
Greenwich now with these heartbreaking details. Gabrielle?
Dan, Patrice, police are finally telling us what happened, but it's the why that remains a mystery. They say their investigation has yet to unveil why a husband would shoot and kill his pregnant wife and their 2 young...
He didn't. It's the pedophile ring that's doing that shit. They're taking them kids. And I'm about to prove it to you.
children. It's making the grieving process just that much harder.
Was just the...
So this is the cousin? You show me where there's any grieving going on here. For those of you that know me, you know how tore up I was. I mean hardcore. I mean beyond, listen, where my head was is a place you never want to go.
light in the room.
See, you see this here? That's a micro smile. It's called a micro expression. She's trying not to smile. This is the cousin, and you just had Christmas with her, and this is how you act when she's brutally murdered.
It was awesome.
That's how Daniela
Big red flag here. There's the panties. Okay? See the dog here? I'm about to turn you on to something that's going to solidify this thing. Here's the teal panties. Right here. Then that's your pedophile symbol.
Brutus family wants to make sure she's remembered.
She was, it's so hard.
You see how she's trying not to smile?
Hard to describe her with just.
So this is the person that was shot with a shotgun like Stephanie, and somehow you find the time to smile like Stephanie's mom and dad did? I'm curious how that works.
Words, she was, honestly, she was wonderful. She was just, you could be so comfortable with her. She was so funny. She was so loving. Like, she was just there for everybody, and she just.
Hang on a minute.
She was.
Where's this woman's pupils? Her eyes are completely black.
So loving. Like, she was just there for everybody, and she just always had the right.
See? She's trying not to laugh.
Right thing to say.
The pregnant mom was shot and killed alongside her two kids, 2-year-old Felix
Alongside her kids, just like Stephanie.
and 5-year-old Adele in their West Greenwich home last week. Police say it was her.
You notice what you see here, right? Police, yellow tape, right? None of that you saw at Stephanie's.
Her husband, Nicholas Arruda, who pulled the trigger before turning the gun on himself.
This is a heartbreaking time for the relatives and friends of the Arruda family, as well as the West Greenwich community.
The investigation has yet.
I'm sending this guy a fucking thumb drive too, and I'm gonna. I did. I contacted him. He never contacted me back. You know why? Because they're part of it. Tell him straight out, you and all your fucking Masonic cronies that are involved in this, don't think it ain't going unnoticed. These motherfuckers know exactly what happened, because they're in on it.
Yet to uncover a motive.
I wish there could be an explanation to help you make sense of this horrific act, but the truth is, we may never know why it happened.
Oh, but I do. That's funny that I can figure it out, but you have no idea.
They were called to do a wellness check at the.
Exactly the same thing I did on Stephanie. It's called a welfare check, but it's the same thing. Because I didn't hear from her the next morning.
Family home on Cheyenne Trail when Danielle didn't show up to her job at a law firm 2 days in a row.
We were all like in shock, just in.
Yeah, you look like it looks like you're just beside yourself. Wow, that's amazing. I don't know how you're handling the stress.
Disbelief.
Danielle's family, including her cousin Michaela, still can't believe what happened. They had just spent Christmas together.
It was a wonderful.
Hang on a second, I want to show you something too that I need to add. 2 things here. Look here, Danielle Arruda and her children were victims of a triple murder. Look at how they spelled murder. They took the E out and put a 3. Well, what's 3? 3 is Saturn. Saturn is what? Death. But why? Who did that? Because whoever did this knows the truth. Now, the girl in her maiden name is Sihat. Isn't it interesting that this is what the word means? It has 2 meanings. Crusade and holy war. That's interesting. That's interesting. A holy war. Who waged those? Oh, yeah. The Jews did that stuff. They did it under the disguise of the Knights Templar and the Crusaders. Amazing.
Wonderful day. We spent.
There's no emotion in this broad. The night of the 3rd, when I busted them fuckers and I told them I was coming up there, I had about 6 beers in me, and I grabbed the table, and I was going to throw it through the fucking wall. This bitch isn't even concerned, because I'm not even sure that this bitch is her cousin.
We all hung out and stuff, laughed, so it was a nice memory.
And they have set up a GoFundMe to help.
Of course they did, just like they did with Stephanie. Wow, how about that? Imagine that. So now, let's take a look at some other really damning stuff, shall we? So let's look at here then. The kid with the teal panties, the boy, it's a boy, by the way. You see he's holding his dog. See, he's got his dog right there. Here's the news. Isn't that cute? A purple coat, which is the combination of the red and blue. And then she's got the white Masonic gloves on with her eyes closed. This is the house, 15. They made sure to show you that. None of this, as you recall, was done with Stephanie. Zero. Nothing. But here, like I said, so let's look and see what 15 is, shall we? What is 15? The symbolic meaning of 15 is best explained by the 15th card of the major arcana in the tarot deck, the devil. Imagine that. Imagine that character, mother, being involved in something this dastardly. What a surprise. What a surprise. And let's just go get a picture of Mommy Dearest real quick. There's a picture of Mommy Dearest right there. Remember I showed you? The mirrored? You tell me why the news would have to run this picture of this kid mirrored. See his dog? See it? Let's just do this. Let's just draw a line right down the fucking middle here. Why would you show that in a news? And they showed that super fast. I had to fight to catch that. You see, this is really, 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 really demonic shit that's going on here. And this is just mirroring what happened at Stephanie's house. And they did it to my girlfriend, and now they did it to these people. And that's true. That's exactly what they did. That's exactly what they did. So now we're going to get into the whole Aaron Arnold and the organization that's backing her launch children's entertainment centers. So before we go over there, this is from 1975, Dorothy Moxley, which was this woman's daughter, was murdered in that same area that Stephanie and this other chick, right? And that they're the relatives of the Kennedys. And so they never solved it, supposedly. But what's interesting here is 1, 2, 3. Look at the mug on this broad. I don't know if that is a broad. It could be a dude in drag. This represents the vagina, represents mother. It's just another way of doing the dragon's claw. See it? No secrets. Really? Oh, this is supposed to represent a dragon's head. Which, that whole thing has to do with fairy tales and unicorns and little girl stuff that's utterly decimated by the act of being sexually abused. Here she's doing the lioness paw as well. The males will put it on their chest. The females bend their arm underneath like that. So this is exactly in the same area where Stephanie got murdered and that other woman in that general area right there. So here I'm going to show you some of the codes that they're passing. So we know that this color here is dealing with pedophilia and the mind-tripping bullshit that goes along with the act of sodomy, right? Here's the panda eyes, right? You get it. And it's mirrored. So you see the color? The silver represents the mirror. See? This is the house where those people got murdered. But you know the house isn't that color. So why did they put it in that color? Because it's telling you what happened there, what really went on. Over here, triple murder, suicide in West Greenwich, Rhode Island. Notice the color of the jacket. It's the same as this. It's the same as this. This is a place where you can rent a room out of this house. Notice the chair. Interesting color. Here's another one. This is another rental place. Notice the chair. Because people that look at this know that they can go there and that's where the shit's going down. This guy cracks me up. See the color of his glasses? But the key is right here. What is that? What is that? People will never get this. Everybody sees it. Nobody knows what it is. You want to know what it is? I'll show you. Let's just take this out of here. And we'll bring down the letters a little bit. Oh, these things get aggravating sometimes. Hang on. 1 second. So this filthy sodomite, because that's what he is. This 322 is Genesis 3:22. And the Lord God said, the man has now become like one of us, knowing good and evil. That's what that means. It means he joined the club because he got it up to yin yang, and now he's stuck in a perpetual loop. That's why his glasses are the same color as this and this and this and this. And then we see this under the silver lake right here. You notice you got the one-eye symbolism with the same color again with the palm trees. If you look down here, you got the single eye Tahiti boy in the palm tree family. 1973. It's satanic. You notice it's 333 and Third Side Records, palm tree. Whenever you see a palm tree, it represents a dick orgasming. That's why they use it. Because it's representation of the palm. And the top of it is the orgasm. The palm is your palm, by the way. This world really is a fucking filthy place, you know. And if you look, these are the flowers that they put at the house where the murder was. Not Stephanie's, but what's interesting is if you look here, this right here is hibiscus, which is tied in with Kali, which is the goddess that the Jews are tied into of bloodlust and murder. It is the same one that Stephanie has right here. Oh, very interesting. Oh, you gotta love this one. Look, they got the blue teal colored bear on the bed. Bears are always a symbol of pedophilia. What a coincidence that it's that color. See, YouTube and Facebook are used for passing messages. Drug trafficking, child trafficking, drugs. But the kid stuff is like the big one. See? This is the big one. Oh, this and this filthy fuck over here. So it really comes down to this. The whole monarch thing. All mind programming. That's what's going on up there in Rhode Island and Connecticut. That's why the FBI stopped me from getting up there, because I was going to expose all of that shit. And it's obvious that I can, because I'm showing you right now. The Jews are the ones that are behind it. 100%. Without question. You know, when you talk about David and Goliath, what did he do? Oh, Goliath was bigger, so he picked up a rock and then put it in a sling and threw it and hit him in the forehead. He hit him with a stone in the forehead. You do know a stone is a testicle, right? And he hit him in the forehead. What an interesting place to hit him. Sounds to me like a little bit of rumpy-pumpy went on. That's a nice bedtime story, but that's not really what went on. A stone to the forehead means the dude's mind got blown up. In all of these countries that the Jews supposedly went into and conquered in the Bible, did you ever stop to think that maybe they weren't evil? They became evil after they came in contact with the Jews? How about that? How come they never put that narrative out? They went into Cana. Let's see, then that would be Cain. And Cain was the one that was stuck in an everlasting loop. Wow. And they've done this over and over and over, and they're continuing to do it now. And they just did it recently up there in Rhode Island when they stole those kids. And probably Stephanie's. One way or another, I'll get to the bottom of it, or they'll have to kill me first, which I'm pretty sure that's going to happen anyway. This is interesting. Why would Michelangelo paint a picture of God with his fingers sticking out and then him flying away with his ass out? What do you think was going through that guy's mind? What do you think? And here's the orange sun here for 33. Oh, and you don't want to miss out on this. Look at the color code. You know, what is this? Oh, eternal life. Yeah, you know why that is? Because you get stuck in a never-ending loop. So are you sure you want eternal life? Are you sure? Because I think peace is in death, not in eternal life. Because eternal life, that's eternal damnation. Damnation, like a tree that falls across the river. It's a dam. You're not going nowhere. Just going round and around and around. So look at this. These seahorses. Look at that bowl. And look at what's right on her chest. See the color code? Monarch butterfly. Same thing going on over here. And what is she doing? She's holding up the horns of Isis. Mommy. See the color? None of this is by accident. I'm just teaching you codes. The name of my channel is Occult Science. Because it is a science. It's just hidden forensics is what it really is. And look who it's dealing with. Jeffrey Epstein. Epstein, does that sound North Korean or does that sound Jewish? How amazing. Epstein. Oh, filthy fuck. Like this stupid picture. Same thing again. Repeat, 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 repeat. Here's the cube, which is mother. There she is up there, and this is where they murder. It's the same shit, guys. Over and over and over. Learn the codes, and you'll know this stuff. Simple. See, this group of people, this is all that they know. That's all that they know. That's all they'll ever be. All of this is based around that act. And the sooner you get it, the sooner you'll stop watching these other heralds that have them looking for flying saucers and Martians and all that other bullshit. It all comes down to this. In Kabbalah, the sacred tree of the Seraphith is claimed to represent the cosmos, including God male, which is a dick, and Shekinah, the goddess female, which is a vagina, and the kingdom of Zion, as shown in the foundation of all things in the male genitals or the sex generative process. Zohar, that's another one of the filthy books. Encyclopedia of Ancient and Forbidden, what is the word? What was that? Knowledge? Remember I told you? Genesis 3:22. Man has become as we are, knowing the difference between good and evil. Well, we know that it's forbidden knowledge. Why is that? Because the guy stuck a flagpole in the other guy's ass. That's why. And there's nothing female about that. There's a lovely little bit written by a Jew about Jews. How lovely this is. Wow. Fellow Jews who pose as the saviors of the world are nothing else than the world's seducers, destroyers, and incendiaries. Sounds about right, don't it? It's from the Matrix. This is Neo's passport. Interesting, the background color, isn't it? I've only showed you the color about 50 times today. But what's more interesting is this. What did I tell you 9/11 was? It's the act of sodomy, which does what? Yes, sends you on a magical mystery tour, doesn't it? September 11th, 2001. Wow. That's interesting. Not really, because that's really what 9/11 is. It's the act of sodomy. I keep telling him to tell you that. I don't think anybody's listening. I know you want flying saucers and Alex Jones and all that shit. Here, I put this together for you. Maybe it'll help you understand what the fuck is really going on here. Look, erotica comatose lucidity that allows a practitioner to induce an altered state of consciousness following a specific orgasm, anal, to communicate with non-human beings. Yeah, like I said, anal. It's what it is, man. All of this stuff, it's all the same thing. You really don't think that's a fireman, do you? So hopefully, they don't censor this. I changed the speed of it, so it might not pick it up. This is how the sodomy shit works. So let me show you.
We've met before, haven't we?
I don't think so. Where was it you think we met?
At your house, don't you remember?
Now you got to remember that word house. That's a very important word when it comes to understanding what this stuff really is.
No, I don't. Are you sure?
Of course. As a matter of fact, I'm there right now.
What do you mean you're where right now?
At your house.
Again, remember the word house is very important because it has a different meaning than what you think a house is.
That's fucking crazy, man.
Call me. Dial your number. Go ahead.
This is just another way of drawing the eclipse, which is the right and left side of the brain. They just made this smaller. So you've got the white here and the dark on the outside, and that's a singular point that comes from the act of sodomy. Just watch.
I told you I was here.
So he's calling him from his house.
How'd you do that?
Ask me.
How'd you get inside my house?
How did you get inside my house? So now we got the word house and inside. Are you starting to understand what a house is?
You invited me.
So he invited him inside his house. Remember, we're not talking about a building, we're talking about something else a house might represent. So how did he get in his house?
It is not my custom to go where I am not wanted.
So he invited him in.
Who are you?
Give me back my phone.
Do you understand what's going on here? The guy's standing in front of him right there. He's on the phone with him here. How's that happening? Because the little guy with the white face is fucking him from behind. And the scenario of him being here with that guy in that room is all in his head. Because remember when I explained to you about Disney, it's a small world. It's a fake world that's created from that act. So really, the little guy with the white face is really on the outside. How did he get in his house? His house is his asshole. He invited him in. In other words, he's having a gay sexual sodomistic sexual act right now. And this is all being created in his head from that. That's how he was able to call his house. Because his house, where he's at, his mind, is really on the outside of what he's seeing here. He's really in his own head in this little world right here. But the dude with the white face is on the outside, screwing him from behind.
It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Still, just we're still on the same page. Watch the guy that comes up.
thought you were getting me a drink.
Andy, who's the guy on the stairs?
Okay, so that you're aware, anytime you see a guy with a thin mustache like this, it means he's a homosexual. It's just another one of their codes. So let me show you about this house thing, where it's actually used in the Bible. So let's look at the word house. This is right out of the Bible. This is when Jesus was arguing with the Pharisees. And they said he was able to do the things that he could do because he was part of Satan. And he said, who is powerful enough to enter the house of a strong man? Notice the word house. Of a strong man and plunder his goods. Only someone even stronger. Someone who could tie him up and then plunder his house. The stronger man would be Satan. Someone who could tie him up and then plunder his house. In other words, they were basically accusing Jesus of being a sodomite. And he said, well, that's not going to happen because nobody's stronger than I am, so the strong man, Satan, can't enter into me via the rumpy-pumpy, which is exactly what you just saw. That's why people don't even know this shit exists. That's why people can't figure out those movies. I always like it when I start showing people stuff and my phone has to interrupt me. So what's being said here is that the biblical story about when Jesus says, what's your name, demon? He says, Legion, for we are many. Well, that's the spirit of the strong man. And multiple personalities. Alice in Wonderland, The Wizard of Oz, it's all the same story. It's all a sodomistic story. So, when we talk about Project Monarch, the wings of the monarch butterfly are actually the pelvic skeletal shape, and that's the truth. It's what the Ace of Spades is too. Then if you add sodomy, you add the abdomen of the butterfly. The other thing about the monarch would be that these people, right here it comes, are told that they are chosen ones. Who said they're chosen? What group of people says that? The Jews. Because they're all sodomites. Given that a lot of the bloodline families in power in the United States claim to be descendants of the European royalty, Ashkenazi, or descendants of monarchs. Monarch programming is basically sodomy programming. That's exactly what it is. And ultimately, this is what's led to whatever's happened with Stephanie. I'm just educating you guys as we go along. All of this shit will be turned over to the feds at some point. I'm just educating you on what's behind her murder or whatever it is that they did with her. So when you see shit like this, you know what it is. That he didn't just make that for no reason. So here, Launch accelerates growth with an investment from Silver Oak Partners. What does silver represent? It represents a mirror. What is the oak? The oak groves is where the Jews would take, and their cohorts, Masons and that type of shit, to the oak groves. And that's where they would sodomize them and murder them. Let's look at a biblical story about such things. So let's just jump right in to this Jewish bullshit that they love to push on the Christians. So they gave Jacob and all the foreign gods, which they had, and the rings were in their ears. That's why women wear earrings, by the way, in case you didn't know. And Jacob hid them under the oak, which was near Shechem. Shechem was a town where the prince liked to fuck women, rape them, sexual violence. So why would he put them underneath the oak? Everybody knows about Alex Jones and his bullshit story, Bohemian Grove, where those are all oaks. The Druids were the Jews, and the followers of the Jews. It's always them. It's always them. Here, let's take a look. Here's an interesting picture, biblical picture. Well, I climb trees for a living. This is an oak. Why does this guy have the Saturnian hook in his hand? God, this stuff. It reads like a comic book. Hang on. Oh, you notice? It's Jewish. So let's look at this. Depiction of a druid with a white robe and cultic items, including a snake. Why does this guy look so much like a Jewish priest? Because he is. There's the dragon's claw. Next, let's read this. Archaeological excavations in Britain have uncovered the remains of sheep, goats, and cows. These animals were obviously used in sacrifices, but notice these are all clean animals. The Druids' king Jeroboam before them could have learned about the clean and the unclean meats from only one place, the Jews, because Jeroboam was a Jew. Let's see. And they forsook all the commandments of the Lord their God and made them into molten images, even 2 calves, and made Asherah. Where have we seen that before? The Asherah pole. And worship all the hosts of heaven and served Baal. Here's the key words. And they caused their sons and daughters to pass through the fire and used divination and enchantments and gave them over to which was evil in the sight of the Lord to provoke him. Hang on. And so let's look at this picture again. What is it? I'll draw a line. 2 calves and made an Asherah. Remember, an Asherah is an Asherah pole, right? There's your Asherah pole. And caused the host of and served Baal. And what did I tell you this is? This represents a penis. This represents the asshole. And what does it say? And they cause their sons and daughters to pass through the fire. That's the pain and burning from a child being violated. And to do that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, to provoke him. Sexually raping a child is called an abomination. It also rewires a child's head and locks them into a demonic system. So Stephanie having this shit in her backyard in these pictures, I don't know who this bitch is supposed to be her. The story's playing out here of at least what was going on in that area. Obviously, at some point, Stephanie did not put that up. The woman before that, Erin Arnold, the one that owns the kids' playgrounds, which we're going to get to. But here, it's right here, what they're doing. It's all sodomy. It's child trafficking. It's just an old way of writing it. So if you look here, which is the boy is the sacrifice. Children, the long-haired Agili of Grigory are dancing around the sacred stone. You do know a stone is a testicle, right? And the priests and the priestesses are appealing in prayer to chant to Woden. Woden. Hang on a second. I want to check something. Earlier I was looking into who these guys are that own Silver Oak, that invested in Amy Laska's child trafficking business called Launch. Isn't it interesting that they're talking about right here? Appealing in prayer and chant to Woden, which is Baal, the chief god in the Teutonic pantheon, Jewish. The scene is the Oak Grove. What are the odds that these guys are praying to Woden, and we're dealing with the Oak Grove and child trafficking, and the guy that's one of the partners in Silver Oak is named what? Chris Wooten? God, they think we're stupid. Let's see. I know it doesn't come out very clear. Chris Wooten. Wooten? Are you going to tell me that that's a coincidence? No, it's not. Because it's the Jews that are running all of this. Always hiding behind somebody else. And if we look here, knowing, see the eclipse? Genesis 3:22, and man had become as we are, knowing the difference between good and evil. And when they ate from the tree, didn't Adam and Eve know the difference between good and evil? No comes from the Hebrew word yada. Yada means sexual knowledge. And if you look here, in Hebrew, yada means to know, and when used in biblical, it implies a deep, intimate knowledge, including sexual intimacy, to know someone sexually. And so we know that knowing is yada, and it's sexual. And here's the eclipse, which is the right and left side of the brain merging, which locks you into that system. I know this is a long and laborious thing, but I've got to educate you onto what all of this is so that you understand the possible murder of this chick, or what really went on. I loved her. My life's been destroyed because of this. So now I get to sit around doing this plain fucking forensic detective with somebody that I loved. It's like doing an autopsy on somebody you care about. But I will get the bad guys, I promise you. So let's look at this. Ryan Debin multi-unit franchising magazine cover. The chief excitement officer, that's an interesting word. Aims to create smile what hours. Now this is Launch, the child trafficking children's amusement park. If you were to ask any one of our managers, all of our businesses, what's our goal, they all know. And what did we just say that the word no means? Excitement, smile, what hours? You see this? Do you know what a watt is? A watt is a unit of energy. So the sexual excitement and the knowing with the children and the watt hours They are using these kids, and they've been doing this since biblical time, harnessing their energy by creating a small world in their head, yet on the outside, the altar that's created plays the child. But the energy of the child is redistributed through the small world into the nether realms. In other words, let me just show you this. So here you see this looks like a lighthouse. Hell is for children. This is really a phallic symbol. There's all the lightning, which represents Satan. Here's the eclipse right there. That's why when biblically they said Satan disguises himself as an angel of light. The light they're talking about is that light right there. They're in that act. So if you ask them, they all know, and they're saying everybody in their organization is affiliated with doing that to children because it's a child trafficking organization. But the average person that reads that won't get it. The power from those kids goes to, how do I put it? Hell is for children. They power that thing through the fake reality that's created in their head. You remember the, here, I'll show it, I'll explain it to you in a better way.
Seems is not without a sense of irony. The human body generates more bioelectricity than a 120-volt battery and over 25,000 BTUs.
Stop. See where it's connected to the back of the kid's brain? That's from the Matrix. Hang on. Now, for my pet goat, watch. That is an archon. It's also known as a jinn or a demon. You notice he's connected to an electrical line, just like what we just saw in the Matrix. Notice one eye is blocked out. That's the whole Baal thing. On the side of his head is a dragon claw. Now, whenever they show children that have been sexually violated, they always show them in a very frigid, cold environment. And I'll show you another clip about this. So this child really resides here, where it's being harvested for energy. But on the outside world, which is really the inside world, that's where the kid thinks he's at, but the child is really here. See the one-eye symbolism? See this? You know where that is, right? What's in the back of the $1 bill? They just flipped it upside down. That's the pizza, that's the gate, the eyeball. But you'll see it on the back of a $1 bill. Flip it upside down. So they're showing you that the child is connected into that system, that computerized system, which means machinery. So this was the queen of pedophilia. She was a little girl, and they would put her in movies. Shirley Temple. Notice how her outfit is snakeskin, because she's Jewish. But just watch. She's going to tell you about being in that cold environment.
Not so great producer came into the dancing studio one day and lined all the kids up to do a time step. And I didn't like his face. And so I hid under the piano. And as fate would have it, he said, I want that one. That was me. That
What
was
was
my
your
start.
first movie?
It was called The Runt Page. It was a baby burlesque, and it was a takeoff.
A baby burlesque. In other words, those were little girls that they put in extremely short skirts and put them in like risque movies with older men.
Off of the front page. They did takeoffs in these 10-minute movies of popular films of the day.
Did you like it? I mean, since you have this early memory, not many people have this camera. Did you, at age 4, like the camera right away? I mean, did you like it?
Yeah, but I liked the crew better. I mean, the camera was there, but I had to learn to hit my marks without looking at the floor, the little piece of tape. And I could do it. In fact, your lights are pretty good. They might be better, but I can do it by the feeling of heat on my face. If the light hit here and it hit my shoulder and it felt warm, I would know I was in the right place. If it was cool, I said I'm not in the right place.
How do you explain you? I mean, was this freakish, genish? I mean, how were you able?
I don't know.
Hang on, this is the one that killed Kennedy, by the way. She's the one that shot John F. Kennedy. I can explain that to you later, but that's not important right now. Let me find the part. So look here. Shirley Temple. Lamont, along with producer Jack Hayes, worked for the Educational Films Corporation. Then the 3-year-old starlet, 3, starred in 8, but was not a pleasant place for Temple. Now this chick's name was Shirley Temple. Later she got married and was black. The same color as the cube. But her name is not a name, it's a statement. Shirley Temple, the one in the head, black, meaning corrupted. Shirley Temple, black. She described her as punishment for misbehaving. They had 2 sound boxes on the set. One of them had a big cake of ice in it. Well, you know cake is ass, right? And when any of us misbehaved, we were sent one by one into the black box to cool off. That's what you just saw with the child with the archon attached to his head in the snow laying on the freezing ground. All of this stuff is perverted and dark, and it's all one group. Just to give you an example about how this shit is tied into religion, and this is all code. Notice it's 33%. We already know what the 33 is. It's there, isn't it? Because 33 is sodomy, isn't it? Why would you carve this in a church? Why would you do that? Because to these defiled fucking weirdos that call themselves chosen, they think that's where the phrase holy shit comes from. Because they think the act of sodomy on a child, or anybody else for that matter, is like a holy thing. Why? Because it ties them into that demonic realm. It ties them into the small world, see? So you ask yourself, why would this be in a church? Because that's really what the church is based off of. Because that comes from Judaism, and Judaism is nothing but about all of that stuff. They can bullshit you and wow you with all of these stories about they conquered this group and that group. Nope, it all comes down to this. Every bit of it. So I'm going to stop right there. On the next one, we'll continue on with this company that's backing this child trafficking, and I'm going after them next, trust me. That's why I said this ain't going to end well for me, because I'm going to be fucking with some companies that got a lot of money, and they're all run by the CIA. So probably not a good ending for me, but you did take my girlfriend, so don't have much choice.